So just a little bit of colour from the start of the vegetarian festival as it happened here at Thai Mueang, just north of Phuket. Much bigger festival even in Phuket, but here it's certainly celebrated very seriously. It goes for about 9 or 10 days. It was, well, cancelled on the Saturday night, but they certainly got stuck into it last night with the arrival of the 9 emperor gods at the beach and then the parade into the main town. There's some more footage at the end of today's video if you'd like to share a bit more of the colour from the Thai Mueang Vegetarian Festival. Now we get stuck into today's news, and welcome, by the way, a start of a brand new week here on TNT, and we go to Bangkok Post reporting another Siam Paragon shooting victim dies. This happened on Friday, but I just wanted to bring you up to date if you weren't aware of it. And it says that a 30-year-old woman, one of the 5 people injured in the Siam Paragon shooting by a 14-year-old boy on October the 3rd, died early on Friday morning, 10 days after the incident. And she was the 3rd fatality in the shooting. And one of the injured was a 30-year-old Pempi One. She was hit 2 times in the head and 2 times in the rib cage, and was admitted to the King Chulalongkorn Memorial Hospital for a treatment of serious injuries. And she died after 10 days of treatment. The commander of the Metropolitan Police Division 6 said there would be no change in legal proceedings against the teen shooter because police investigators have already pressed premeditated murder charges against him. Exactly what happens to a 14-year-old after an incident like this after the trial is, well, we'll just have to wait and see. Moving on to the Thais who have been stuck in Israel and starting to return, BangkokPost.com reporting another 90 Thai workers return home from Israel. And the third group of 90 Thai workers, that's 88 men, 2 women, returned home from Israel on a commercial flight yesterday morning. The workers departed from Israel on Saturday morning. They went via the United Arab Emirates, then they took a connecting flight. The same day arrived at Utapao International Airport, 5:45 a.m. on Sunday morning. And the first Thai worker brought out of the airport in a wheelchair was Natapong, who's 35. He was wounded in the right leg, and he's got his own interesting story. He says he worked in a kibbutz near the Gaza Strip with about 10 other Thai workers. On the morning of October the 7th, they heard the noise of gunfire and explosions. He and his friends crouched on the ground. He later felt that he was hit by shrapnel in the right leg. He said that he'd worked in Israel for about 4 years and still had a year to go under an employment contract. He said he would not seek to return to Israel, but would instead look for work in his home province of Udon Thani. So we welcome all these workers back to Thailand, but let's turn the story around. And Voice of America reports that Israelis in Thailand are determined to get home. And as the world watches the war in Gaza unfold, many Israelis in Thailand say they're desperate to get home to assist their country in its battle against Hamas. Israeli nationals are cutting short their Southeast Asian trips so they can aid their country's war effort. Thailand's a popular place for Israelis, with more than 159,000 visiting from January to September this year, according to Thai government data. I recall that, remember the Phuket Sandbox? That was like a pilot program to introduce limited and quite controlled tourism after the COVID pandemic in a sort of a controlled pilot way. Well, it was a group of Israelis who were the first group to come to Phuket after that particular trial started. And the story says located in Old Bangkok, a couple of streets away from the traveller-centric Khao San Road, Chabad House is where Israeli visitors congregate while touring the Thai capital. The Jewish community house has been a mainstay in the city for nearly 3 decades. And it says despite international airlines cancelling flights to Israel, direct flights between Bangkok and Tel Aviv are continuing, with the Israeli flagship airline El Al aiding Israel nationals to return. So as the conflict drags on, we've got Thais wanting to get back to Thailand, but also, according to voanews.com, Israelis wanting to return home as well. And just a quick invitation to subscribe to the channel. This is the Monday TNT. We do this 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, and then we have different programs on the weekend. Just a very quick interruption to thank our sponsors, 5-Star Marine. Excuse the sunglasses, but it's a pretty bright day here. Now, if you'd like to go on a bespoke, VIP, plan it yourself charter tour onto Phangar Bay and visit any of the islands off Phuket, I can heartily recommend 5-Star Marine. Been a great supporter of TNT for such a long time, so please support the people that support us. That's the website there. Thank you, 5-Star Marine. And a thanks to those people that joined in, especially the people on Super Chat. Thank you for joining us on our live TNT. Both Saturday and Sunday, Grumpy Old Men was live yesterday. Steve dragged himself out of his deathbed. He's certainly been very unwell for the past 3 or 4 days, but we appreciated him making the effort. He certainly wanted to make sure he was well enough to watch all the start of the Vegetarian Festival. Just reminding you there's some more video footage at the end of today's program. But thanks for those people who joined in on the weekend. Now, talking of flooding, a couple of locations mentioned in the news, understanding that there are many other locations up around the central part of Thailand that are in deep flood at the moment. And this is from the PathiaNews.com report. Early morning downpour leaves Pattaya underwater, and more than 1 hour of heavy rain caused flash floods in most of the Pattaya area around 3 a.m. Sunday morning, and it flooded the usual flood-prone areas, including the beach road, and the water level was over 30 centimetres and even up to 1 metre deep in certain areas. Well, it would have certainly dampened proceedings, but, it was at 3 a.m. on Sunday morning, so I'm sure all of you were home at that stage. But going a little bit further north, just south of Chiang Mai, and heavy rains trigger flash flood in Phayao, destroying bridge and causing casualties. And again at 3 a.m. yesterday, the Phayao local media reported heavy rains caused a flash flood, destroying a bridge and local vehicles, with 7 villages missing in Dong Kam Thai and the Thai Mueang districts in Phayao. And initially there were 4 Thai Mueang villagers found deceased and 1 was still missing. The other 2 Dong Kam Thai villagers were found alive on a mountain. So just 2 reports from different parts of Thailand, but understanding that there's quite a lot of parts of central Thailand in isolated areas that are having some flooding problems at the moment. Now, another problem that just keeps on happening here in Thailand, ASEANnow.com reporting Bang Na Mall escalator accident injures child, prompts safety protocol questions, and a 4-year-old girl has suffered injuries after her foot got stuck in the escalator at a shopping mall in Bang Na. And despite the swift response of the mall's personnel, well, apparently it wasn't that swift, the rescue operation was delayed due to confusion about which part of the escalator to dismantle. The incident occurred yesterday evening, this was Friday evening, and resulted in medical costs exceeding 7,000 baht for the family. The accident occurred as they descended the escalator at the end of their visit. The girl's foot was sucked into the escalator while they were looking for the emergency stop button. They expressed concern about the mall's emergency response protocols, suggesting there was no clear procedures in place for such accidents. And it took approximately 30 minutes to free the girl's foot from the escalator, and the mall's personnel arrived at the scene within 5 minutes of the accident, but the delay occurred during dismantling. That's 2 incidents in the past 2 weeks, just the ones that have been reported in the media. Last week it was a shoe that got sucked in. This time, just a little girl, a 4-year-old, having a problem getting her toe sucked into the mechanism of one of these escalators at a shopping centre in Bangkok. We go to the BangkokPost.com now, a report, decline in Chinese visitors, nothing to worry about. This seems to be a good case of turning lemons into lemonade. And the story says about 60,000 Chinese tourists have cancelled their trips to Thailand since the Siam Paragon shooting, which left 3 people dead, including 1 Chinese tourist, and 4 injured. Data from airports of Thailand showed the number of Chinese tourists arriving since the incident on October the 3rd was 590,000, and that's a 9.2% decline compared with the bookings of 650,000. So it seems to me a lot of cancellations. Is this normal or not? Well, the spokesperson said the number is still within the range of expectations because the number of people booking tickets is always higher than the number who purchase tickets, according to a government spokesperson. So is it usual that 9.2% of people cancel their tickets? I wouldn't have thought so. He said normally the number of bookings is within a range of plus or minus 15% of the real travel figures, so the reduction of 9.2% of Chinese visitors after the incident is normal. It shows that the Chinese tourists are still confident in travelling to Thailand. And he went on, "We'd like to thank Chinese tourists for understanding Thailand and having confidence in the government." And just speaking to one hotel executive over the weekend, certainly mentioned that there have been a lot of Chinese cancellations. So I'm not sure if 9% of cancellations is normal. But according to that spokesperson, it's all fine and the Chinese are very happy with Thailand. Now, that's a problem with people coming to Thailand, but some people have a problem getting back home. And this reported in the PhuketNews.com. A family dispute leaves British tourists stranded in Phuket without money or passport. It says a tourist from the United Kingdom found himself without travel documents or money after a family dispute led to his wife leaving with his passport and some family belongings. I'm sort of figuring this isn't the first time something like this has happened, but this time at least it's been reported. And a tourist from the UK approached tourist police seeking assistance regarding an argument with his wife. And the woman left the hotel with her spouse's passport, so he requested help in tracking her down and retrieving his passport and money. And the unnamed tourist explained that he'd already paid for his return tickets but couldn't board the flight without his passport and had no money even for basic necessities. And the story goes on, police officers provided the tourist with temporary accommodation and contacted the Phuket bus terminal to arrange a seat on a Bangkok-bound bus for the man, allowing him to contact the British Embassy and make arrangements for his return home. Now, there is an honorary consulate for British people in Phuket, but obviously they're not able to give him a document to get him back home. And just like most other foreign embassies, the British Embassy in Bangkok can issue an emergency travel document that permits a British national to travel to the UK from abroad when they cannot use their passport. Typically, this document is valid for a single or return journey, but it costs £100 and a credit or debit card is needed for payment. But it looks like the wifey might have disappeared with the credit card or debit card as well, but we wish them well as they hopefully reunite back in the UK. And just an international story with a bit of a Thai twist. This is reported in CNN.com. And Secret Audio, a star witness, and Thai prostitutes complicate the Sam Bankman-Fried's defence. And just some quick background, 2 weeks into what could be a 4 to 6 week trial, jurors hearing the case against the fallen crypto mogul Sam Bankman-Fried have been inundated with evidence that looks, for now, pretty damning. Bankman-Fried, 31, has pleaded not guilty to 7 counts of fraud and conspiracy. He's been accused of stealing billions of dollars in deposits from customers of his FTX crypto exchange in order to cover losses at his other firm, a crypto trading house called Alameda Research. So there's a quick bit of background. Where do the Thai prostitutes come into it? Well, one of the witnesses described the payments as a last resort after other tactics to move the funds out of China failed. One of those failed schemes, she said, involved using accounts belonging to Thai prostitutes to set up trades that would drain Alameda's China accounts and transfer value to the sex workers' accounts, where Alameda could reclaim them. So I don't know if these Thai prostitutes and sex workers are real or if they're fake accounts, but just an interesting perspective making headlines there on that CNN.com report. And with that, we thank you very much for joining us on TNT for the first day of a working week. A bit of a damp day here at Turtle Beach, but we'll leave you with a little bit more of the colour and footage from the start of the Vegetarian Festival this weekend. We'll see you tomorrow.